What he's doing is respecting the presumption of innocence, respecting our rights. If you want to blame somebody for letting us out, you blame the DOJ for not having fair trials. That's who's responsible for that.
Right.
Okay? So he's putting us back where we belong, as innocent until proven guilty, and at this point it's too late. You guys screwed up. You had horrible trials. We had 2 perjuring police officers that got caught lying on the stand. They're dead to rights caught with it. They were not what they said they were, because video proved it. And yet nothing's done about them. So,
yeah, they all got pardons. Is Jessica Watkins out?
Yes, she is.
I can't wait.
I
talked
to her last night, and Kelly Meggs also. Yeah.
It's so victorious. I'm so happy for you guys. Any last words to President Trump if he sees this?
Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. And President Trump, if you're listening, the most innocent J6ers were right with the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, and it's my opinion they deserve full and utter pardons because they did nothing wrong. Thank you so much, Stewart.
Absolutely. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
What about
welcome home, Stu. Get your card.
What about Roberto?
What was your message to President Trump?
Roberto
Menuda. Well, he should be pardoned too. Wasn't he pardoned?
Well, I
haven't talked to him, but I'm sure he's pardoned.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
All of them are.
Well, a lot of us only got commutations. I just can't remember who's on the list.
There's like 11
like Vallejo was one that did not get.
Which facility you was staying? In which facility you were?
Oh, I was at Cumberland, Maryland, just till last night.
And Cumberland, Maryland. Which facility?
Cumberland FCI, medium security prison.
Cumberland, Maryland.
Yeah.
What's your message to President Trump again, Mr. Rhodes?
Oh, just thank you. And like I said, God saved his life, and God's going to have him save our country, and then he turned around and saved us. So I just want to tell him thank you.
You were accused of sedition, trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power. Do you have any regrets for that?
For being accused of it? Well, of course, it's a horrible thing.
You were convicted of it too.
Right, but I did not do that. So no. I was innocent, entirely innocent. Like I told the judge in my sentencing, I said, like President Trump, I'm only guilty of opposing those who are destroying our country. That's what I told him. So,
what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is I believe that the election of 2020 was unconstitutional and illegal. It violated multiple state election laws.
But does that justify breaking into the Capitol?
Didn't say it did, but I didn't break into the Capitol. I stood outside. I stood outside, exercised my free speech. I didn't even go inside. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay, yeah. So I stood outside. So how did I break in?
You were accused of working with Oath Keepers, creating a plan.
Right, and that was
to execute.
And that was a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of garbage. It was designed to prevent President Trump from being able to run for office again. And so the whole thing was, let's take a protest and turn it into an insurrection. Let's magnify it, and make it look like something it really wasn't, and then attach that to President Trump. That's all that was.
So what's next for you after this commutation?
Well, right now, apparently on probation, so I have to go report to a probation officer. But my lawyers actually think that's not accurate, and they're trying to sort that out with DOJ.
Why do you think you weren't pardoned versus commuted?
I'm not sure, but that's okay. I'm going to put an application in for a pardon, and I believe I'll get one.
You think it's going to be reviewed by the president?
Sure, yeah, of course. I'm going to put my application in. Everyone has the right to apply for a pardon, and I'm going to do that, along with my co-defendants. And I'm pretty sure that once they look at our cases and understand the reality rather than the rhetoric, once they understand the reality, they'll understand that we're innocent.
Mr. Rhodes,
yes.
What do you believe the pardons and commutations mean for groups like the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys going forward here?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, here's the problem: is that both groups were infiltrated by confidential human sources run by the FBI. And so we're being it's like COINTELPRO back in the day, right? Used against Martin Luther King or other civil rights groups. The FBI sends out these legions of snitches and provocateurs to go try to entrap people. So it makes it very difficult to have a civil rights organization of any kind. That's what I consider Oath Keepers to be.
But for members of the group, what's the message that last night's pardons?
Well, I think the message is that it's redemption, but also vindication. We were innocent, and so the men that went inside, in fact, they helped police officers multiple times. For example, Harry Dunn, the police officer, of course he denies it, but at first, his first interview with the FBI, he said, "Well, yeah, this group of people, they helped me. They got between me and a loud group of Trump supporters that he was confronting." And so our guys de-escalated the situation.
But how empowered do you feel to regain a leadership position?
Well, it's not about that. I'm not even sure what I want to do with Oath Keepers. It's about being free again and then working to make our country better, like MAGA, make our country better.
Would you like like to be in a leadership position again?
I don't know. We'll see. You know, I might just decide to go to hang up my spurs for that kind of stuff. And like I said, it's so easily infiltrated. When you're out there trying to do, we did security 9 times in Washington D.C., including the big rally in November and December. Our men have never had to use force against anyone in the street. We use deterrence.
And any regrets?
No, I don't, because we did the right thing. We were there to protect Trump supporters from Antifa. We were there to protect and secure 2 permitted events on Capitol grounds where members of Congress were going to speak. One was Latinos for Trump. The other one was the Alexander event that's going to be on Capitol grounds where members of Congress were going to speak that day. That's why we were there, to protect people and do the right thing. Some of our guys got caught up and they went inside. And when they came out and they told me, I told them I was stupid because of who we are. That I knew that'd make it easy for them to target us, which they did. You know, but the guys that went inside did not commit any crimes. In fact, they helped people. They helped the police and they helped the people out.
What about those other defendants, Mr. Rhodes, who were on camera beating police officers? Do they deserve a pardon?
Yes. Like I said before, it's about the presumption of innocence. Because they were not given a fair trial, it doesn't make a difference what the evidence is. You still have a right to a trial.
They're on camera doing it. They went to trial. They were convicted by a jury.
But they still have a right to a fair trial. And if the jury is drawn from the jury pool is drawn from the victim pool, the judges themselves said that all of the people who live in D.C. were the victims of January the 6th. It'd be like being accused of robbing a Walmart and then having the jury drawn from the people in the Walmart during the robbery. It's not a fair jury. It's not impartial. So stop right there. And we were denied venue change. So you wind up with a kangaroo court jury, a show trial. You're going to be convicted. And so guys have a false choice between pleading out, which many of them did, or going to trial. We did it on a matter of principle. I'm not going to confess to a crime I did not commit. So I went to trial. And so we went to trial, knowing though we're going to be convicted because you're not going to get a fair trial. But I just won't do that. I don't bear false witness against other people. I don't turn on other people. I didn't turn on President Trump. And I will not plead guilty to a crime I did not commit. That's why I went to trial.
How do you think history should remember January 6th?
Patriots Day. That we stood up for our country because we knew the election was stolen. Biden did not get 81 million votes. He got more votes, 20 more million votes than Obama, or 15 more million more than Obama and more than Hillary Clinton. It's ridiculous. So like I said before, I don't need to see the actual evidence of the fraud. I just know that state laws that are meant to prevent fraud, make it easier to discover fraud, were violated, making it easier to commit fraud. And that made it unconstitutional under Article 2.
What are you going to do now?
Well, I'm going to go report to my probation officer. That's the first step I got to do. Within 72 hours.
And what did you do in the first hours of being freed?
Had fellowship with people in the J6 support community. They picked me up, and we drove down to Mickey's house, and we had fellowship.
How many hours ago were you released?
Midnight last night.
Midnight last night. Can you tell me about the conditions in there?
In FCI Cumberland?
Yes.
Very good.
Very good.
It was very good. I was very lucky. Good facility.
Good facility.
Here in D.C., horrible. I was in the hole here in solitary confinement for 6 weeks. It's a horrible place. So the men that were here were an awful place to be. Alexandria Jail, also pretty horrible. I was there over a year in solitary confinement.
Did you experience any abuse from the guards, anything like that?
No, I have not experienced any abuse from the guards. Most guards are conservative. Most guards are Trump supporters. That's been a blessing.
What other prisoners or what?
No, not at all. They respect us. They respect Trump. In fact, when Trump got shot in the ear, when I was FCI Cumberland, all the inmates stood up and cheered because they were like a lot of black inmates, blacks, Hispanics, whites, and they're like, man, Trump's a legit OG. And another black convict, he's a lifer. He's like, no question. That means like this is for certain. That's the highest respect they can pay him as the original OG. But they saw him react like a warrior. You know, he's got spirit, he's got fight. So that's what they saw.
He connects across a lot of different.
Absolutely. That's where he won the election, I think. That's where he won the working man vote. Because they respect his manhood. You know? He showed courage.
Can you expand on January 6th that you wanted to be Patriots Day? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, like I said, I believe the election was stolen. I believe President Trump has always been right about that, and that's why he's not backed down. He's corrected that. John Eastman, his attorney, was correct in his legal analysis. I don't care how many established judges try to pretend it's not so. And the Supreme Court ducked their responsibility. That when Texas sued Pennsylvania, that goes to the Supreme Court, original jurisdiction under the Supreme Court when one state sues another. Right. And just like Bush v. Gore, they could have taken that case and should have taken that case. And Alito and Thomas said so. But the rest of them kind of just, what's the right word, squished out.
What about the violence against the police officers?
Well, I don't support that. But I also, here's the thing though, when a police officer is using unlawful force, excessive force, like hitting a woman in the head who's unconscious with a club over and over again, and you try to protect her, and now you're charged with assaulting a police officer, trying to save her life, I think that's unjust.
Was it like officers getting hit with the American flag and crushing the officers' arm
But what
at the door,
started that?
etc.?
So what started that? Like for example, I know one woman was pushed down steps, concrete steps, an older woman pushed down concrete steps. So you wind up with, how do you get Trump supporters who are almost predominantly pro-police to turn and fight cops? How did that happen? Well, they could be provoked from both sides, from bad cops doing bad things, like killing Ashley Babbitt, shooting her in the neck when she's unarmed. Things like that were going on.
So the mob mentality.
And we knew about that.
You can attribute it to mob mentality, like.
Well, you can contribute it to provocation from police officers who themselves lost control and use excessive force. So you have cops hitting people in the head with clubs. That's unlawful force unless the person's a deadly force threat. They're trained to hit below the shoulders.
So is
right?
January 6th a day to be proud of, or it's unfortunate, or how
I think it's a mix. I think it's unfortunate that anyone went inside because it made it easy for the bad guys to shut down the valid challenges to the elector slates. I think that's unfortunate, but it's understandable because we knew the election was being stolen. It's understandable people were upset. Now, most people that went inside, they walked in through doors already opened by somebody else. They were not told they were trespassing. They just, in fact, some cops waved them in, and so you had it. Basically, it's entrapment. Like my co-defendant Jessica Watkins described it as a lobster trap, easy to get into. Once you're in, you're screwed. You know.
And sorry, we came in here a little late.
Yeah.
There was a big group around you, but can you give us the play-by-play about when you were notified that you were going to be released? How that happened?
Well, yesterday we got locked down because someone got stabbed in our facility. Nothing to do with me, but we got locked down. But we're listening on the radio, and we heard President Trump say that he's going to be taking action for the J6 hostages. That's when I knew for sure. But I always knew he was going to do it. You know, I had no doubt. I had full faith that he was doing it.
So, what do you want to say to Trump right now?
Just thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
What emotions did you feel?
Absolutely.
When the pardon came down?
Just of course relief. You know, but like I said, I knew it was coming. Joy. You know, gratefulness.
How long have you been in?
3 years total.
And right here at this one?
I was here for some of the time. I was in Alexandria jail for pre-trial in the solitary confinement. Pre-trial, during the trial, and after trial, solitary in Alexandria jail.
I'm here because I was here on January 6th, so I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I speaking the truth?
What about
Yes.
what about those folks pardoned who attacked the DOJ targeted who attacked members of the media and injured and assaulted members of the media?
Well, look, I support free press, but I also understand the anger. Look, we've been slandered and demonized and attacked by the media over and over and over again. So I understand that anger. You know, I don't think it's justified to use violence. Of course.
Is it justified that those people were pardoned?
Well, sure. Did they get were they put on trial? Were they put on trial?
I believe so.
Right, but did they get a fair trial? And the answer is no. Like I said, it's about presumption of innocence. Whatever you do, you could be caught on camera robbing a 7-Eleven. You still have a right to a trial. If that trial is not a fair trial, it's reversed. Correct? Okay, same thing here. He's reversed an unfair trial. A court won't do it, but President Trump can and will, and that's how the founders designed our system. That's why he has the power of pardon and commutation. George Washington pardoned all the guys involved in the Whiskey Rebellion. Were they guilty? Yes, but he wanted to unwind and de-escalate the turmoil in the country at the time. Jefferson pardoned people who had been convicted and sentenced to prison under the Alien Sedition Acts, right? You know, to be journalists and editors of papers. No appellate court at that time reversed any of their charges or any of their convictions, but Jefferson did. That's the whole point of that power, is that you have a remedy to right wrongs.
I also showed up a bit late. What is your full name and how do you spell it?
Elmer Stewart Rhodes III.
Elmer Stewart Rhodes.
Right.
Hey, Stewart.
What's next for you movement?
Back here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, turn around.
Congratulations.
Hey, brother.
I love you, my man.
Brother, how you doing?
You got anything to say to Nancy Pelosi's led Fedsurrection?
You failed.
She failed, right?
She failed.
Did you notice all the pardons that took place yesterday?
Absolutely.
Every single person that was pardoned by the lead of the Biden criminal syndicate was involved in the Fedsurrection or its subsequent cover-up.
They were part of the setup of the cover-up. That's exactly right. You want to know why we know that that's true? There's a confirmation, like you said.
Exactly.
And the same goes for COVID, right?
Absolutely.
That came from a Wuhan lab, and Fauci was part of it. That's why he wanted a pardon.
That led to the 39 states running their elections illegitimately, illegally, that you called out, and everybody that showed up on January 6th called out, and now it's being proven
and
true.
President
right?
Trump called out, and John Eastman called out, and we were right.
Yeah.
Never back down on that. We were right.
Note that,
Can I ask you a
media.
quick question? Is this an opportunity now with Trump in the Oval Office for the Oath Keepers and other militias to kind of go on the front foot, be a bit more
first
visible?
of all, we weren't really a militia, so that's not how I consider us to be.
Can you tell me how?
Well, I mean, a militia is supposed to be organized in your community. It's you and your neighbors together. So that's a militia, the local people together.
But we saw the Proud Boys on the streets of Washington yesterday. Yes. Is this now an opportunity?
We work with Proud Boys all the time across the country, protecting people together. We did that many, many times.
If I can follow up with that question, let me just say the following real quick, sir, is that based on Biden's pardons of his family going back 10 years, and essentially he's trying to pardon everybody for everybody moving forward.
Right.
Do you think these same pardons apply to us, where we can basically do whatever they will do potentially in the future?
No, because we're not them.
Exactly.
We're going to do the right thing.
You hear that?
Let me rephrase the question a bit, if I may. Do you feel emboldened and perhaps legitimized and validated by the Trump victory?
I don't feel emboldened. I feel vindicated and validated. Yes, absolutely. Of course, I haven't gotten a pardon yet. I got commutation. But I'm applying for one. I'm pretty positive I'll get one. When they review my case, they'll understand that I was targeted for who I am, not for anything I did. It's because I'm the founder of Oath Keepers, and they wanted poster boys. Me and Enrique Tario and our groups were poster boys for their Fedsurrection. Right.
So what is the future of the
It's
Oath
like the
Keepers
Soviet
going
Union.
forward?
Show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
So what is the future of the Oath Keepers
I don't know.
going forward?
And I mean, our ultimate mission is to defend the Constitution. That's what I care most about. Like I said earlier, it's so evident that the FBI and DHS are going to send in. They did it even during Trump's administration. They're sending, instead of looking for actual terrorists, they're focusing on a group of military and police veterans, most like 30% cops, Oath Keepers, huge number of police officers. But we were targeted. Now, why were we targeted? Because we're political opponents of the deep state, even during the Trump administration. The deep state was carrying on. They don't really care who's in the White House. They probably do now, but used to be they didn't really care. They continue to target the political right because that's what they see as their threat.
And is that targeting now over of the Oath
I don't
Keepers
think
and other
so.
militias?
Not until President Trump purges out the bad apples in the FBI. Hopefully, Cash Patel will get in there and clean house in the FBI, and hopefully Christian Nolan will do the same in DHS. So DHS also had snitches. You didn't know that, did you?
So you mean that
they tried to recruit Jeremy Brown, an Oath Keeper member, but 2 DHS agents came to his door and tried to recruit him and pay him, and he exposed them by putting the audio of their offer online. And that's why they targeted him, and he needs a pardon. He hasn't been pardoned yet, but he should be. He's a J6 defendant too.
So you feel these commutations, these pardons are just the first step for Donald Trump, that he needs to go further into attacking what you call the deep state?
Well, I wouldn't call it attacking. What I would say is this, from my perspective, what has to happen first is that the prosecutors who suborned perjury, that's a crime, and committed conspiracy to commit perjury need to be prosecuted for those crimes. And that's what's going on in our system right now, is prosecutors suborn perjury all the time. It's a very corrupt system. Like President Trump said, a very nasty system. The defense attorneys know their client's innocent. The prosecutor knows the guy's innocent. And yet they get together and collude to negotiate a guilty plea for this innocent person. He knows he's innocent, but he's afraid of going to trial because in the feds you're going to get 98% conviction rate. Even aside from a political case like ours, even in normal cases. Okay, so I know plenty of guys in FCI Cumberland, where I was, who are in for ghost guns or ghost drugs. In other words, there's no evidence except a snitch who's been threatened with years in prison, who turned on them and made up a crime. And so that testimony alone is what they use. Everyone knows it's a lie. The judge knows it's a lie too. But they all have the coerced man who's been threatened with 30 years in prison sign and say, yes, I'm saying this because it is in fact true, and no, I've not been coerced in any way, shape, or form. He's being coerced into saying that. It's a total lie. So the system's very, very corrupt.
Just one final question, just on press you on that. What is the future, the path, the visibility of the Oath Keepers going forward in Trump's America?
We'll see. We'll see. You know, we were doing awesome disaster relief. We were doing excellent work as volunteer security. No one ever got hurt on our watch. No one that we were protecting ever got attacked. In fact, we never had to even use force against Antifa. Not one Oath Keeper ever shot anybody or hit anybody or kicked anybody. We just used our deterrence. And it worked.
Does that mean you have a role in law and order?
I don't know. Well, sure. Look at it this way. If you're wealthy, you can afford private security. or if you're a member of Congress, like Boba was here, she had 2 security guys. But if you can't afford that, if you're a gas station owner, for example, in Louisville, Kentucky, who's been threatened by BLM to burn down your gas station, which is what happened to this lady, and you can't afford private security companies to come in, we can come in and do the exact same job for free. That's what
So
we did.
are you kind of the working man's law enforcement now?
No, against the law enforcement. Why are you saying it like that?
Well, I'm just
security. If you're a rich person, you can hire any Blackwater, or you can hire any high-end security firm to have personal security detail assigned to you. Very, very powerful, guarded, armed men. They're not law enforcement; they're your security. But if you can't afford those guys, you can have veterans come in and do it for free, and retired cops.
That's not vigilante.
No, of course not. It's security. Yeah,
Vigilantism is when John Brennan uses a drone to murder an American citizen.
Vigilantism is where, like accused, what's the guy, Daniel Penny, of being a vigilante. No, he was defending people. A vigilante seeks to punish someone after the fact. Like if Neely had jumped up and ran out the train, and then Penny chased him down and then choked him out, that'd be vigilantism, okay? But he's trying to defend somebody on the spot, that's defense of others. Big difference.
Thank you very much for talking to us. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
What's up, man?
Hey, come on, man. I love your spirit. Still reading up on things.
Oh, yeah.
Staying caught up with what's going on in the world.
Got to speak the truth.
You ready to go on offense?
Like Solzhenitsyn said, live not by lies. The first step is to refuse to comply and take part in a lie. That's why it's so awesome that President Trump never backed down by saying that the election was stolen, because he was right. He never backed down on that, because he's right. To this day, he's correct.
And then Mark Zuckerberg admitted to it with his involvement in the whole.
Well, in the Time magazine article, they said, "Oh, we were defending democracy," but they laid out how they did it. They had a very coordinated plan all across the country and very well funded. Zuckerberg was part of the Zuckerbucks, right?
Yeah,
was part of that plan. They changed election law. They violated election law all over the country. Those were illegal elections.
So, what would you say to now that these people were supposedly pardoned, everyone involved in the January 6th Fedsurrection and its cover-up? Would you urge state AGs and the 2,500 red district attorneys to go ahead and see if there's a jurisdictional nexus that they can use to go ahead and go after those members?
I wouldn't do that yet. I would say first you can still have investigations. The person can be pardoned, but you can still investigate them. And now they have no ability to plead the fifth, right? Because they're not going to be on the hook for it.
So then maybe bring them into Congress.
You call them in and you hold them in contempt of Congress, like they did to what's his name, Steve Bannon. Right. If you don't want to testify, we're going to hold you in contempt of Congress, put you in jail. So you got to testify, and you can't plead the fifth. So you got to testify truthfully. Put them on the hot seat. But here's what I want to see happen in those cases, those 2 cops that I allowed to understand in my case. Put pressure on them to turn on those prosecutors. They'll do it. They'll sell them out. Yeah.
Nice.
You start going up the chain.
All right, now
let's
talk about the legislative branch.
And the prosecutors will do the same thing. They'll make a deal too.
Ann Vandersteel is live right here. You know Ann Vandersteel?
This is Blessed News Network. Jake Lang's live stream, and Ann Vandersteel, investigative reporter, is on.
Okay.
She's friendly. She's totally friendly.
Okay, cool. Hey, are the guys out yet?
No.
What's going on?
15 are coming out.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.